Apprenticeships. My name is James Butcher and I'm the Director of Policy here at the NFB. And today we are putting together a short video for you on Flexi Job Apprenticeships. And I am delighted to be joined by Khadija Murchison, who is the Business and Partnerships Manager for Evolve Apprenticeships. So Khadija, first question, what is a Flexi Job Apprenticeship?
So Flexi Job Apprenticeships, they're delivered by Department of Education, and they have been designed to ensure that sectors and occupations where there are short-term contracts or other non-standard employment models or the norm can actually access the benefits of an apprenticeship. So in short, what it basically means is a Flexi Job Apprenticeship agency is where an agency employs the apprentice directly for the duration of their apprenticeship, but also arranges placements for the apprentice with host businesses. I know that probably sounds a little bit complicated, but essentially, if an apprentice has a 2 or 3 year apprenticeship and the host business is unable to take them on for the full duration, then an employer such as Evolve, we will directly employ that apprentice and we will be responsible for moving them around to different placements. Short-term contracts can consist of maybe a minimum of 6 months of a commitment, but essentially it allows the company to achieve their apprenticeship target as well as provide that apprentice with the support to complete their placement.
Brilliant. So actually this is an innovation on what lots of people watching this will think of as the standard apprenticeship. This is an innovation that is specifically designed for industries like construction, where perhaps projects don't last quite as long as the employment contract for an apprenticeship may be, which I suppose gives them the extra flexibility to take on an apprentice where they might not have been able to do so before, or perhaps take on an extra one or an extra two because they can make that commitment on a project basis rather than, for example, on a 2 to 3 year basis.
Yeah, exactly. That's correct.
So can you tell me, who are Evolve Apprenticeships? How did you get into this? And what's your relationship with CITB?
So we have, I'll start with who we are. So Evolve UK, or Evolve Apprentices, we are a not-for-profit and social enterprise. So we deliver the CITB the CITB shared apprenticeship scheme across London, Birmingham and the West Midlands. Now we are partly funded by the CITB, hence why we work quite closely with them and have a fantastic relationship with the CITB. And our relationship really is around the support around apprenticeship training and delivery in the construction industry. The great thing about CITB, they have other sort of departments or areas whereby we make use of that in terms of, they have a platform called Talent View Construction, which is almost like a portal for job vacancies. So whether you're looking for a traineeship or an apprenticeship or maybe some work experience, I would highly recommend both employers and apprentices to actually sign up to Talent View Construction. They also work closely, so Go Construct is also part of CITB as well, and they do a number of different events and schemes around women in constructions, different ambassadors. So yeah, it's a fantastic relationship we have with them, and they really support the model and the work that we do.
Great, excellent. So it's fair to say then that you've been appointed by CITB to deliver their shared apprenticeship scheme, and then appointed by DFE as a provider for Flexi Job Apprentices?
Well, yeah. So Evolve, we're on the Flexi Job Register. So we are, as a construction apprenticeship employer, we are on the Flexi Job Register. So if you go on if you have a look on the Flexi Job Register, you'll see Evolve. There we are actually the only construction. I think there might be one other company as well, but based in London. And just to kind of, in terms of the shared apprenticeship scheme, very similar to Flexi Jobs, but it's just more targeted at the construction industry.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I can talk more about that after.
Fantastic. And on Flexi Job Apprenticeships, what are the costs associated? So say I'm a construction company and I'm watching this, am I going to have to pay more for a Flexi Job Apprenticeship? Do I have to pay for the training? Is that funded? or is it just the salary that I cover? What are the costs associated? If I were to use Evolve, if I were to call up Evolve and say, I've got this opportunity, can you sort me out? What am I looking at in terms of costs?
Of course. So, in terms of our costings, so costings kind of work. I personally believe that our model works quite well around the costing delivery. So essentially, how it pretty much works is Evolve. We actually employ the apprentice directly. So
Right.
in terms of our actual charge and our fees, the host business or employer, which would be the contractor, subcontractor, they would actually be responsible for paying the apprentice's salary throughout the
Yes.
duration of them hosting them. So
Which
that
is
could be
very similar to a normal apprenticeship, isn't it, in that regard?
exactly. So that would be either through the national minimum wage or London living wage. Of course, we do encourage, employers, with the cost of living and things like that. If they can afford to pay the London living wage, fantastic. But of course, it's up to the actual employer to decide what they can pay the
Yeah.
apprentice. Now, in terms of the fees that we charge, so because we're a not-for-profit organization, Evolve do charge a small fee associated as part of that. But because we're, as I said, social enterprise, we reinvest those profits back into the business. So it really supports the onboarding, the HR, all the HR sort of requirements,
Yeah.
because another benefit about this shared apprenticeship scheme is if you work with Evolve, we actually remove all HR responsibilities from the actual employer. So they can just focus on, looking after that apprentice throughout the duration of how long they're placed on site with them for. In terms of, so I'm not quite sure, I know, I'm sure most people are aware of what the levy transfer is as well. So because we're an SME as an employer, we only have to pay a 5% contribution to the actual overall cost of the apprenticeship. Now we have some generous, a lot of people or employers have unspent levy that we can kindly, use to help and support our apprentices to complete their apprenticeships. But in terms of the actual fee, it would just be, the apprentice salary and then a small charge fee associated just on that short-term basis. And I'd say, there is no long-term risk or cost.
Yeah.
I think some people probably think, oh, it might be too much, but actually it allows you to achieve, your social value, your apprenticeship targets, as well as giving back, giving a young adult or young person the opportunity to build up a successful career in construction.
So actually, this is probably quite a good opportunity for employers who may not feel that they've got the HR capacity for another apprentice,
Yes.
or they've never even taken on an apprentice before and are worried about what the HR requirements for that are. You
Yes.
actually cover all of that, and because you're an SME yourselves, there's a good chance you might be able to get funding for the training element of the costs associated with that apprentice. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. That's correct. So we actually, as an employer, we take care of everything. So that's enrolling them into college or into finding them a
Wow.
suitable
Okay.
training provider. In terms of training costs, we will sort of be responsible for that as well. So really, the only fee, as I said, is the apprentice salary and then the small fee we attach. And also Evolve, what happens is when an apprentice comes to the end of their placement, they become displaced. So as an employer, our role, it's really important for us
Yeah.
to find them a placement, as early as possible, which we do. But in some circumstances, it might be that there's a slight delay on another project,
Yeah.
or for whatever reason, we are unable to place them at the agreed date that we wanted to. So
Mhm.
what that means is the apprentice will then become displaced, and we will actually continue to pay them. We don't recommend for our apprentices to be displaced for no longer than about 4 weeks,
Yeah, of course.
but
Yeah.
only in the most special circumstances we can extend that. If we know there's a guaranteed start date, we've got confirmation from the host employer to say that they're happy to take the apprentice on site for X amount of time. But yeah, essentially, overall, that's kind of how it works.
That's brilliant. That sounds really good. So if we get into some of the nitty gritty, what
Yes.
level of apprenticeships do you offer? Is it specifically around a certain level? Is it all levels?
All levels, so level 2 to level 7, we can deliver
Right.
any apprenticeship.
Yeah.
You will find, we have found in recent times, I know when you look at sort of the skills gaps in constructions, there are kind of specialist areas as well that we would love to deliver, but there might not be an apprenticeship standard for it. at the time. So that's just kind of a bigger conversation. But essentially, we can deliver any apprenticeship from level 2 up to level 7. I would say some of our most popular apprenticeships kind of fall into the 2, 3, 4 category.
Yeah.
But we do, as I said, we go up to level 7. And in terms of age range, obviously anyone over the age of 16, we do not have an upper age limit. I think,
Great.
we can't discriminate in construction. We are really trying to diversify the industry. So it's really important for us to tap into diverse groups and underrepresented groups that may face barriers getting into the industry. So really trying to work with, some fantastic community voluntary organizations, referral and, employment organizations that support and represent those types of individuals.
And how is Evolve's performance on that regard? Because I know that nationally, for example, the number of female apprentices in construction has actually been fallen, but from memory, Evolve are actually doing pretty well when it comes to female apprentices, and indeed the diversity in terms of ethnicity of your candidates are pretty good as well, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really proud to say that, we do exceed the national kind of percentage of, women in construction, for example.
Great.
Overall.
Yeah.
At the moment, we've got over 28% of our
Wow.
apprentices are female.
And
And
I think
over 50,
nationally that's like 7%. So
literally, yeah. No,
it's like
absolutely. So we've kind
4
of like,
times higher. Yeah, amazing.
exactly. And then we've also, I think it's around just over 55% of our apprentices are from a Black Asian minority ethnic background as well. So yeah, I think statistically, we're kind of smashing and exceeding those kind of national targets. But there's still a long way to go. And for me, it's about inclusivity. No matter your background or where you come from or whatever barrier you have, it's how do we become more of an inclusive industry? And I think we're doing really well. I think
I mean, on those performance statistics you definitely are. So
no, but I think as an industry, no, definitely, thank you, James, I appreciate that. But as an industry as well, I think people are having the right conversations, putting on a number of events, job fairs, tackling and getting into the really trying to understand the root where, why is there a barrier around people having access to construction apprenticeships. And a lot of it is, I think, down to lack of just knowledge and understanding the routes in, as well as the opportunities available. I think most people probably think construction, bricklaying, being on a site, being outside in cold, not realizing there are over 150 roles across construction, trade and non-trade. So I think it's really about delivering those key messages, ensuring that careers advisors in schools really understand the long-term successful career you can have in the industry, those things there, and also social value, giving back to the local communities as well. So
fantastic, great. And what is the minimum commitment that an employer will need to make to you in order for this scheme to work? What do they need to ensure that they're giving the apprentice if they
we ask for a minimum commitment of 6 months. So if the employer has a short-term project, we can only kind of say a minimum of 6 months. If they can take them on for longer or extend, fantastic. So we check in on a sort of monthly basis because we have dedicated apprenticeship managers, 3 fantastic, incredible employees of mine who provide that wraparound pastoral support. And they support the apprentice, from start to finish throughout their journey. So in terms of the actual commitment from the host employer, it's a minimum of 6 months, supporting them whilst on site, of course. Now, some employers might want to buddy up an apprentice with a mentor on site, which again is a great initiative. Some of our apprentices do have sort of buddies on site, but really just kind of giving that apprentice the real opportunity to learn and earn on the job. When I speak to some of our apprentices and I ask them what are the benefits, what they really enjoy, it's those conversations, the fact that they're able to ask questions, and connecting with different people from different backgrounds and just kind of learning all the different secrets and things you need to know. But that's what the kind of main commitment would be. It's just that kind of 6 months initially. And again, we've had employers that have said, hey, we can take them on for the full duration of their apprenticeship, but we still want to go through Evolve. Fantastic, you know. We
So
can
that
kind
is
of,
a possibility. You could, you know, if because we know we're in a skills shortage and finding the right people is
yeah,
sometimes
yeah, yeah,
difficult. So
yeah, can be.
on the occasion that actually someone's working out and for whatever reason the project is perhaps longer than you originally intended, or there's another project that's opened up that's very close by and it works for the apprentice to be on there, you can actually extend this and continue with that person up
Absolutely.
to the full duration of the apprenticeship.
Absolutely, yes. So sometimes employers, they have, you know, we want to try and get an understanding of the different projects that they have coming up in the
Yeah,
next 1 to 2 to 3 years. It allows us to then map out the apprentice journey. For example, we might have a site that says, Khadija or Evolve, we'd like to take an apprentice for the 6 months. However, they'll be placed at this site for 3 months and that site for 3 months. That's absolutely fine. You know, for us, a lot of our employers across London anyway, the host employers, you know, you have Section 106 obligations. So
yeah,
I'd say a huge majority, over 95%, probably 90% of our vacancies are Section 106.
yeah,
So we find candidates from those local areas, building key relationships with the councils, you know, local authority partners, etc., to ensure that, you know, we're helping them to achieve those targets, as
yeah.
well as,
So it
you know,
has a real
us.
business benefit, doesn't it?
It
Because
does, yeah.
effectively the companies are having to prove this as part of their, you know, as part of being procured.
Yes,
So they
absolutely.
can fulfill that need and also, you know, help the candidate to develop in their role as well.
Exactly, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. No, that's great. Okay. And can you remind us, where is it that Evolve operate in the country?
So we operate across London, Birmingham, and the West Midlands. So cover all boroughs, all counties as well.
Mhm.
Now, in terms of the actual apprenticeship model, so we deliver the CITB shared apprenticeship scheme across both, and also the Flexi Job. But the Flexi Job model allows us to diversify slightly outside of construction as well. But for us, it's about, you know, construction in the built environment, you know, property developers, you know, heritage, specialist heritage companies, things like that. We want to, you know, build key relationships with those who, you know, are seeking to take on an apprentice, or, you know, may be able to offer work experience. You know, if there's anything that anyone can support to help the next generation of future construction leaders, then please do get in touch with us. We'd be delighted to speak with you.
And the Evolve's pedigree is very much construction, isn't it? It's not like construction is a part of your offering. It is the significant part of the offering, isn't
It
it?
is. It is. Yes, it is. Yeah. Since we've kind of started, since sort of 2018-19, we've actually supported over 200 apprentices into construction apprenticeship. So yes, we are advocates for the industry. Of course, as I said, we are looking at, in terms of growth, later this year, looking at diversifying out into other industries, but construction does definitely remain a key priority on our list for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Now, if so I've been watching this, I'm an employer and I'm thinking this sounds like it's for me. And I've got an opportunity. Do I recruit the apprentice myself, or do I come to you before we even get to that stage? How do I start that conversation with Evolve, and how do you kind of help me through what are the stages that I need to go through before the apprentice can start on my site?
Okay, so essentially, so I'd say always recommend, please go through our website, because you can leave
Yeah.
an inquiry. That's checked daily on a daily basis. So we will always receive your inquiry if you're interested in hearing more about Evolve or how the model and scheme works. Now, it can work both ways. So Evolve, we actually will find the candidate ourselves. So as I said, we have a number of fantastic relationships with referral organizations such as sort of Women into Construction, Building Pathways, a number of other, you know, local JCPs as well, that will refer candidates to our vacancies, which are advertised on our website, you know, National Apprenticeship website, Talent View Construction, so another, as I mentioned earlier, and a few other sites as well. Now, we will kind of either find the candidate for you, or we'll conduct that stage 1 interview. If we're happy with them and we think they're successful, we'll pass them on to a stage 2. Or you'll find that the host employer might already say, hi, Evolve, we'd love to go through you, but can you interview these candidates? So they may already have candidates that they would like to put forward. Again, absolutely fine. So we will follow the same stage, really, just follow the stage process, get that apprentice lined up, conduct the stage 1, and then pass them on for a stage 2. And I do want to mention as well, James, all clients have different needs, based on the size of their organization, the infrastructure. And it's really important for us as an employer to understand the gaps and the needs of our host businesses, to understand, what the culture of the company is like, the type of apprentice they're seeking. We don't like to overpromise and underdeliver, and we have to be very realistic, of course. Sometimes we do have candidates that might already have a bit of experience that we can kind of put forward straight away, but then we do have early years. That's the whole point. And how we how do we support the skills gap? I think it's really, really important for host businesses to kind of understand we're here to work with you, and really understand your needs, and how we can fulfill those. We would participate in a number of different events and workshops, working with local colleges and schools, to kind of introduce Evolve and what we offer, and also just kind of spread a light and a message on the construction industry, and where we kind of need to go. Speaking to parents, because that's another thing as well. If you have a 16-year-old or a 17-year-old that might be looking to get into construction, a lot of them might already know, but again, it might be that your peer or your parent or carer might not quite understand the real benefits of a career construction. So it's really, really important for us to try and tap into those different key areas, to get the message out there.
Excellent. So, I mean, ultimately, I think we've covered all the things that I wanted to cover, and I think people listening to this will have a much better idea of what a Flexi Job Apprenticeship is, how it works. If they go with Evolve, you're the employer. You can work with them from the very start of the process, whether they've got candidates in mind or they don't have any candidates, whether they've done this before or haven't done it before. And the list of apprenticeships that are available is numerous, isn't it? We're not talking about a few, we're talking about, I don't know, upwards of 50, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, if you have a look on the CITB website, you can actually have a look. They do have a list of all the apprenticeships that are covered, so majority of them are on there for sure. But yeah, there are so many, and like I said, you've got, for example, fenestration installer, so that's kind of like window fitting, etc. 10 years ago, I mean, that's always been a role in construction, but maybe not as popular as it is today. So we're getting a lot more, as I said, these specialist trades and areas where we're wanting to help fill those skills gaps.
Excellent.
Diversify
and
out. So.
Evolve is a not-for-profit, so doing this for all the right reasons, not to say that you wouldn't be, but certainly for all the right reasons. And like you say, the outreach that you do with the community, and the fact that you're trying to recruit people. And I know, because I've taken part in one of your pre-apprenticeship courses where you help to get people ready for the apprenticeship as well, which I think is really valuable. So the key message is that at whatever stage you're at, if this appeals to you, to get in contact, isn't it, and have that conversation with you.
Absolutely, please do. Even if it's something you're thinking about, or if you know or could recommend any employees that might see the benefit in using or working with Evolve, please do get in touch. Absolutely, we'd be delighted.
And that's a key message, isn't it? It doesn't need to be, if you're a main contractor watching this and you know that your subcontractors are potentially struggling or have difficulties, then there's no reason why they can't contact you either, is there?
Exactly.
They can refer.
Exactly.
Can you remind us of your website address, just so that those who do want to get in contact?
Of course, yes. No. So our website is www.evolveuk.org. And if you literally go to, gosh, I should know this, there should be sort of a contact us, and then it will kind of have, you could fill out a form for any inquiry, and then someone will respond within 24 to 48 hours.
Fantastic. And if you're an NFB member, we will be putting additional information in the members area, so you can read a bit more about this. We have a partnership with Evolve, so you can call up your NFB account manager and we will refer you through to someone in Khadijah's team. So,
Fantastic.
but the key message is that this innovation has come along. You might not
Mhm.
have heard of it before, but it will almost definitely be of use or of interest to your company at some stage, even if not right now. And we need to start filling that skills gap. This is one of the ways
Mhm.
to do it. It's a project-friendly way of doing it. It's a good way
Absolutely.
sort of to dip your toe in the waters of
Yeah,
taking on apprentices. So we really hope, for the benefit of the entire industry, that this scheme works across the board, really.
absolutely. No, definitely. And just to add as well, I mean, I'm really passionate about working in construction myself, and definitely have found the area in terms of my career and where, the industry in which I want to sticking. And I'm really passionate about encouraging more women, not to be biased, but just in general, and for, as well as young people, as well as even people from a background neurodiverse background as well, that we're wanting to encourage and help support people, maybe even with hidden disabilities. It's about being an inclusive industry, and yeah, we tackle it together,
That's
basically.
brilliant. And as you know, those are key issues for us as well. So our two
Yes.
organizations are very aligned in terms of our values. So
Definitely,
a good way
definitely.
to finish. Khadija, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, James. It was
Um,
great speaking with you.
and if anyone has any questions, please do drop your account manager a message. Go on Evolve's website, put in an
Please do.
inquiry. You will not regret it. And
Yes.
hopefully we can all give more people opportunity to get into construction, and start to solve that skills crisis. So thank you for
Fantastic.
listening.
Thank you, guys. Take care.